I wanted to let you
know.
guys know something very, very cool.
Us in the
Okay.
Patreon.
Well,
The
us,
Patroon.
us Patreon, whoever the f wants to listen. Um, I have been listening to a podcast and watching a podcast, and it's called Ninjas Are Butterflies.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
I enjoy them. I enjoy what they do. I had several things like they're similar style to us, to where like they could very well be sitting and having a conversation with friends. Like that's what it is. Like they squirrel just as bad. It's hilarious sometimes though, because like sometimes whenever they get like their pinpoints in, like they like, oh, you got to hear about this. I watched one today, and I brought one of their, oh, you got to hear about thises,
Nice.
and it was,
Well, see, I didn't even know you listened to them because I sent you a clip today.
I binged it, dude. As soon as
Had you watched them before then, or
yes,
did?
I'd already subscribed to their TikTok, but their TikTok provides only short clips.
Right.
So I've ingested several of their short clips on the TikTok. But as far as what they have provided me on, like, say, watching YouTube for the full length episodes, I've not. But dude, I had it on the entire time I was at work today, so it was epic. It was the thing that stuck out to me though, because I had a dead spot today, and I got to really focus in on whenever I forget he was there. There's different ones on there, and I still haven't learned their names yet because I don't pay attention
Yeah,
to.
the only one I remember is the wife's name, Lily.
Yeah, that you have. He has bald head and long beard. Bald head, long beard,
Yes.
not wavy hair, short beard.
Yes.
Okay,
Wavy hair, short beard has got some awesome hair.
some locks, man.
Yeah, dude. Like he
Some
had like the
locks.
Viking braids one day, and I was like, "That's a handsome man."
I'm gonna let y'all know about a place in Brazil. It's called Americana. It's in Sao Paulo. Have you ever heard of Americana, Brazil?
I have
I
not.
have not.
Did you know Americana, Brazil was? This is so you guys will be fresh for me because this is be my reaction because like getting to see like if I was them telling me. So this is cool. This works for me. Ah. So after the Civil War was over, there were.
Ours or theirs?
I'm talking the American Civil War.
Okay.
After the American Civil War was over, there was a great migration of Confederates after the war was over with. And over 100,000 Confederates actually migrated out of the United States.
To Brazil.
Not to Brazil specifically, but there was the great migration of the Confederates. Like it
Right,
happened right after
did happen.
it happened right after the Civil War. No, roughly 60,000 of them settled in a place that they aptly named Americana,
Wow.
Brazil.
I guess they're a little homesick.
And they speak in a southern accent with an rolling R.
So
So hold on. So
Yeah,
Ameri-
yes, brother.
So Americano Brazil,
Americana.
Americana Brazil. They speak English, but it's a southern accent, but it's got the rolling R.
Yes, they also speak. They also speak the other language that's native to the area. And I want to let me see. Hold on, I've got it in here somewhere, and I don't want to sound like a total absolute buffoon. I want to say it might be Spanish, but I'm stupid.
I feel like it's Portuguese because there's an odd number of countries that speak Portuguese that are nowhere near Portugal, but I could be way off.
Yeah, I felt like they would have said what the main language spoken would have been, but
Just type
it's.
in Brazil language.
But I don't want to get off of my page here because I wanted to read you some brief history on it.
I'll give it a goog while you read that.
Good.
gonna fire up your tablet. I don't even want to think about. I looked at the trash tablet and it started overheating and lagging on me. So I
That
think
trash tab. that thing is not having a good
yeah, here.
time.
Oh, you know what? Awaken.
Okay, so in this specific situation, okay, I was wrong on my number. I was going off of what they had said, but this is off of the mother source, and it says between 8,000 and 20,000 former Confederates emigrated to Brazil. Slaves were inexpensive in Brazil, one noted, and at least 54 families bought 536 slaves after arrival in Brazil.
Oh, that's
So,
upsetting.
so they left America after getting their slaves warred away from them, and then they moved to Brazil and they purchased some more slaves. that's
So
that's pitiful.
That's sad.
The most common language spoken in Brazil is Portuguese.
Hey, I
Hey,
got the
check
same
you
thing.
out.
You did great.
Did it?
You did it. You did it. Hooray!
Yeah, the funny thing is though that they got correct here was it was about 1875 that about half of the population decided that they would move back, because that's roughly about a decade.
Yeah, the heat cooled down a
Yeah, I
bit.
was
Well-
about to say, who wants to live in Brazil?
Well, here's the thing: you have to
it's like
think.
it's like a hot, sweaty jungle,
You got to think about
kind of
this
like the South.
number wise. You've got about 20,000 people, and you've got about 600 slaves. And then you've got people that are getting all this farmland and all these things, and they're planting crops and they're doing all of this stuff. Why would half of them quit and move back to somewhere else to do something different? They realized how hard the farming was whenever they were the ones having to work the farm.
Oh, I'm
They're like,
sure.
oh shit, this really sucks to do, and it's really hard. Imagine to do this for all that time of the day.
I knew buying all this acreage was a hell of a deal down here, but I didn't know that I was going to have to work it my damn self. God damn it! Same shit, different country.
It's like there's a billionaire tech tycoons that go like, I'm just gonna go live offshore. It's like, well, someone still has to wipe down the toilets. If you just go off and live by yourself, no one's gonna have to wipe the toilets. You got to do the work that everyone else does.
And they have a coat of arms that's actually for the town that has the Confederate flag that's actually built
That
into it.
sounds really horrendous. I mean, that's like a lot of bloody stumps.
Interesting.
Ah,
So I mean, that was a real fun fact because why living in the South have we never heard of how many Confederate soldiers decided to move to Brazil?
Look, there's a lot of things about the Civil War, or just our own country's history, not just necessarily the Civil War, that we didn't learn in school. Because up until the time we got to high school, we were completely lied to as the cause of the Civil War. Just for instance.
What was the cause of the Civil War?
Now, slavery was an issue, but that wasn't the main issue that caused the Civil War, because the most predominant population of slaves were actually in the North at the time. The main issue was over just economics, how the North was impressing things upon the South, trying to industrialize them outside of their rural economy. And it was also about states' rights, which is an issue that we have today, honestly, just because our country was initially founded as like a country composed of other countries. That's, if you look at the world abroad, other countries are called states. So we're a group of countries under the banner, the United States of America.
And then the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and then that was added to the
Yes,
already pile of shit
that was a reason for the Civil War, was slavery, but not the main reason.
Okay. I understand.
Yes, which also slavery's awful. We can all agree on that.
Yes. It's just they had a political division of like this is being enforced and this is just another thing that they're trying to do.
Yeah, it was just another straw.
Yeah, just another straw. Which honestly, I mean, people back then, God, I don't even know. I can't even comprehend it because, here's something off of Outlander too that kind of is in this realm here. At one point, Jamie, who's the main character, and Claire, who's
Big Red
the other-
Angie?
No, yeah, he actually is. He's from Scotland. His hair is red. He's huge.
Perfect.
He's got a temper.
Is he built like an orangutan?
No,
Okay.
he's built like. Think of those books.
Well, that's true. That's true. Many a thighs have quivered.
Quivering thighs. But Claire's from the future. So Claire's traveled back in time, and now she's in, like 1700s Scotland and all this stuff. And oh Lord, my THC beverage is kicking in. What was I talking about?
oh no!
You had a gardening beverage?
I did.
Did you just crest the horizon?
I actually just felt myself get like, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh gosh,
You-
what was I? It was back in time. Oh,
Outlander?
Outlander. Oh, damn
Jamie
it.
is an orangutan.
Oh, got it. Slavery. So there's a point where they end up in colonial America. And his aunt and Jamie's aunt Jocasta owns land that's a plantation land in Georgia called I can't remember what River Run, I think is what it's called. And it's a huge
What
plantation.
is this fucking Skyrim?
No, it's I don't know, but it's
What mod made it that?
Yeah.
it's a humongous plot of land. It's right off of some the river area. That's why the property runs along the river run. But it's
also Skyrim.
huge property. Anyway, they get there and Jocasta's this old woman that just like she lives there and she has all of this done and she's looking like royalty. And like she's from where Jamie's from in Scotland and she came from where you didn't have a pot to piss in. They're like, "Why are you what is going on?" And she's like, "This is all mine. I inherited this when my husband died." Da 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 da. And they just have slaves everywhere. And just a person that's from our time like Claire, you know, she's not from our time specifically, but the furthest she made it was like the 1960s. So somebody from the 1960s existing in the time where American slavery was like getting geared up and just like not knowing how to act because you can't speak out against it because if you're speaking out against it, they'll throw you up in the same tree.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you that's just how it was back then, you know. We had to make a lot of progress to not be there anymore.
Yep. So that explains why though that the war was so brutal and so probably overwashed all the other arguments that were in it was just basically that became such a heavy driving point. At least that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, I understand that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, those guys, they introduced me to that small town in Brazil that has a Confederate flag in their town crest, and they actually had stuff pulled up in their video of like this yearly celebration that was a Confederate celebration that they had every year in the town. It was just like their heritage, like
That's
they
crazy.
because they
It
were.
is.
'Cause who would have thunk? Who would have thunk?
I wouldn't have thunk.
I would not have
Right.
thunk.
See, that's the great thing about their podcast. It does that. It sucks you into a random fact that you didn't know, and they touch on it briefly.
Yes. They have some pretty good back and forth discussion because sometimes somebody will mention something and then somebody else will be like have read up on it or something and they know about it and they'll like but they don't really I guess talk about it too much. It doesn't seem like beforehand they'll just come out with it.
No,
But
I feel like we could hang out with them and like it would be cool.
I
That'd be the
like
most
we would
deraily
fit
and
in.
like
No, I just mean
spider
like
web
I just mean in general.
conversation.
I think Lily would have just as much fun as she has on their podcast.
And
Except-
be just as lost.
But probably just. Do you remember when Tab was on? That one time that
Yeah.
Tab was on,
It was like what it looked like. 'cause-
ping pong.
Yes,
we were playing
it's
pong
ping
with
pong.
Tab.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's like in a way I felt really bad, but she seemed to be having a good time.
Yeah, I mean
Right.
it's you chime in. You actually get to chime in the same way you chime in the car if you're in the podcast and you get to guess it because
Right.
it's if you
Yeah.
want to talk, we're actually responsive this time. Oh shit!
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, that also happens in our Discord sometimes.
It does.
Ooh, early plug in the intro.
We don't even have to do plugs anymore.
I have them in my ears.
Different kind of plugs.
Oh, okay, good.
Advertisement plugs.
So you think it's time to get into this thing and have
I
the?
think it's
is
time
it-
to
is it intro-
crack this can of grape soda open.
Is it intro time?
It's
Yeah,
intro, time.
God, let's see if I can remember them all this week.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I just watched last week. It was impressive.
Oh, gather round, you mates of mine, for tales of nerds and lore. Three best friends on a podcast line. theories wild and memes that spar will surely bless no jest. We'll chat of heroes, foes, and plots, and all the trends that shine. With every laugh, we'll tie the knots in our nerdy design. Heave ho, raise a glass to the stories we entwine. With laughter loud and knowledge vast, nerd it through the grapevine. Heave ho, come join the crew, we'll share our tales divine. From D&D to MCU, nerd it through the grapevine.
I say one of these times we make Otto try it.
Oh, please don't. I can't remember things very well.
That's the whole point.
Oh no.
What you can't remember, you get to make up.
Oh, it'll be all of it though.
Oh yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Austin Shazam. I remember the first verse and the chorus. Pfeiffer.
I'm Otto. I really don't remember most things. Cogdell.
And I'm Tiny. Do not ask me what the second verse is.
And we are Nerded Through the Grapevine, the podcast where three best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. We're going to just gather a little bit this week and have some gardening thoughts with you.
Some what ifs.
Just some scenarios, maybe a little bit of thought on, say, scenarios, bounce back and forth, like why we would like this, why we wouldn't like this. By this, I mean, here's an example that I'm using, and we can start it off with that. And the only fair way to decide this is Boulder Parchment Shears. Boulder Parchment Shears ready on, and is it Boulder Parchment Shears shoot? Bump, bump, bump,
We can
bump.
just do 1, 2, 3, shoot. Either one.
1, 2, 3,
We're going
shoot.
shoot.
1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh shit, that's awesome. 1, 2,
We'll go
3,
paper.
shoot. Okay, so you guys go against each
Best
other.
2
Go
out of
ahead.
3.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go rock. Go rock.
This is awful. Oh, okay. So Tiny, you'll respond to this. Okay. So, oh man, actually no, I'm going to start with mine instead, and I'm going to
Oh.
ask you it
Okay.
because it's similar. I didn't realize how similar it was to the example, but this one is a magic circle of light engulfs you and transports you to the last fantasy world you consumed media on.
Oh God.
Where are you transported to, and how are you going to survive in this world?
Okay. So this is a horrible question.
Oh no.
Okay, the last fantasy type thing, and I'm just gonna use the word fantasy as fiction, is Dungeon Crawler Carl. that's the book I'm reading. If you're following along with me, in Dungeon Crawler Carl, he wakes up and he's got a cat because he just found out his girlfriend's cheating on him. She left. It's her cat. She hasn't picked up the cat yet. This is a show cat. It's worth like thousands of dollars. And he kind of likes the cat. The cat goes out the window because he had it open so he could smoke, and gets in a tree. And he walks outside to get the cat because he doesn't want the cat to hurt itself. He's mad, but he doesn't want that. So he's wearing pink Crocs that are his ex's, boxers, and a leather jacket.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't know exactly where on the planet Earth that he lived, but it's super cold. Like, he's worried about frostbite. So as he goes outside, everything collapses. Like, anything with a roof, gone. All his neighbors, gone. And just this voice comes over and says, basically, your matter on your planet is being consumed for resources. It's like a bunch of bureaucratic BS or whatever. And in order to reclaim what your matter is, you have to complete 18 levels of a dungeon. So many openings are going to open up across the world. There's less and less each time until you get out of the 18th level of the dungeon. And so he gets the cat back, which is, the cat's name is Princess Donut. He's holding Princess
I like
Donut.
Princess Donut.
And
I like that. That's a great name.
yeah, it's a great name. in my head, it's like a Maine Coon, so real fluffy because it's a fluffy cat. So he walks towards his opening. Just he doesn't know what else to do, and he just knows he's got to get warm. And he enters the dungeon with Princess Donut, and then it's like video game tutorial. Like he has to find the training guild to learn what to do, and he keeps getting achievements. He gets one for Crazy Cat Lady because he entered the dungeon with a cat, and one of the first things that happens is he's attacked by goblins on a machine. Now, all this is chapter 1. That being said, that's the world that I would be in, and that sounds awful.
So that would be, but at least you're more well equipped than Carl was.
I mean, I would be.
Like, golly.
Because this was also like 2 a.m. for Carl.
Because,
Oh, so what would your 2 in the morning have to go at? Like Nola got out.
oh my
And, like,
God.
you just had to go out
Yeah.
and
It's
like,
a bathrobe with nothing on underneath it and just his Crocs.
It would be Crocs and boxers because I don't own a bathrobe. If I was lucky and it was cold, I might grab my insulated overalls that I keep by the door for walking the dog.
would Nola be a good like dungeon familiar?
I love her so very much.
No, hell
Oh,
no.
no.
Hell no. Millie
Hold
would
on.
not be an asset unless she had
I-
a different personality once
I
she could
have
talk in
seen
Elseworld.
I have seen Nola hit protection mode one time. I didn't know she had it in her, and she took down her foe, which was 3 times her size,
Oh
which
boy.
was someone else's dog. So I think given enough time and effort, she could, but it'd be sketch for a minute.
You'd have to level up together.
We would.
That's how dungeons
We would.
work.
Right?
I mean, I would have to dump a lot of my stats into animal handling.
Because she cannot be tamed.
No, I've been trying for going on 5-6 years now.
She's from the streets. You can never get it out of
She
her.
is.
I've already
She really
decided.
is.
I've already decided in any like isekai situation that Millie and me are involved in, like she's gonna have to have the magic. I would be too irresponsible with the magic. She would be the one with the logical choices.
I'd never looked at Millie and said logical choices would be made there.
I do because Millie has 2 modes. It's either I need to do something mode or sleep mode. The need to do something mode has tree brackets that come off of it. And you have to pick slots 1 through 4. That something is go outside. Go outside has slots. There's 3 slots to go outside. There's I got to pee pee, I got to poop, I got to pee pee. I got to go outside and not do a damn thing and you can't do anything about it. I'm already outside.
Stella has that one too, and it's always when it's the coldest.
It's when it snows. God, she loves snow, even though she hates snow once she gets into snow because she gets compacted in her fur with snow.
See, Nola loves snow. She hates rain. The first time that I took her out in the middle of a heavy rain, it was like the worst thing for her because we got to the edge of the porch where there was no longer cover. And have you ever seen alligators death roll?
Yeah.
Imagine that's a pit bull
Oh,
across the
Lord.
porch.
Oh, poor girl.
Yeah, that's because she did not want to go in the rain. You know,
Oh, she like stopped, dropped, and
She was
rolled.
protesting.
yeah, she was
Oh.
like, I've just discovered what inside the house life is like.
I'm not going back.
I've done this for roughly 2 to 3 hours.
She very
I
much
am
protested.
not going back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Solo, he loves the snow. He'll do this thing where he walks like 2 steps forward, licks the snow, walk 2 steps forward, licks the snow, and then just wants to do that. And I'm like 4 layers deep and like freezing my ass off because
Yeah.
I am an inside the house kind of person whenever it's cold outside. I don't do cold.
See, Nola's snow routine is upon first realizing the snow is out there. We sniff the snow as hard as we can, so we in fact snort snow up our snoot, and then we look at Dad like that hurt, and then we walk around and kick up snow everywhere, and while Dad freezes, and then our paws start to get really cold. So to warm them up, we lick said paws.
Oh, my
And
God.
then we
Oh.
continue to walk around, and then we lick them again, and then eventually we do our best to not put our paws on the ground while Dad's going, please just go potty. Let's make a duty.
Right.
Yeah, and Millie has an awful time out in the yard because she has to get to the spots where she smells the sniffs to pee on, and she can't smell the sniffs through the grass, like through the snow.
Right.
So she has trouble out there whenever it's that cold because not only does her sniffer not want to sniff that much, it's also she'll literally freeze like with those snowballs on her legs and not be able to move her own legs and stand out there in the yard just going "Arr, arr, arr,
Aw.
arr, arr,
Poor thing.
arr."
Our
Like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then carrying her into the house, like I'll have to cradle her whole everything like a baby because those arms might break. That's so much snow. I gotta sit her in the bathtub and get that little sprayer thing off of the shower and just sit there with warm water on the bottom part of her body till she melts away. It's like she's like the kid on the Campbell's soup commercial from the '90s after he gets in.
It's like de-thawing a turkey. Our Chihuahua is the same way. She does not like the cold. She shivered at me so hard one time I had to pick her up and put her in my jacket because she goes outside, pees, and then immediately looks at me like, "Let's go inside because this is the worst. This is not what I was made for."
This isn't what I signed up for. I'm not made for this. Hey, actually, in between questions, and we're just having some gardening thoughts together today, let's get into some gardening thoughts that I had by myself in this little section here. I don't know what this one's going to be. I don't know what their exact topics are, but I found my recorder not too long ago with my Shazam's Not So Sober sidebars on it. And I was going to share that with everybody on some different platforms, and it turns out the cross compatibility of an RCA recorder from the year 2004 no longer happens to go into any kind of computer.
Yeah,
that any of us have.
oddly enough, it does contain the software that you can put on a computer to make it all do things. However, that software, computers have no idea what that is anymore.
It's so old. It's a lost language.
It does speak a lot. It
Exactly.
speaks an ancient language that computers don't speak anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the old. I'm going to do the old. The old mid 2000s. Oh, everybody, shut up! This radio. The radio's playing that song. I'm gonna.
Oh, gotta get a new ringtone.
Gotta get that new
I'm
ringtone.
not paying 99 cents and texting in
Hell
something.
no, I'm not. But let's see what I said on here in regards to whatever the hell I was talking about. So here we go. It's gonna have some phone quality.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, 21 and up. Today's take on Shazam's Not So Sober Sidebars. There's a strain of this wonderful legal cannabis that is available at a shop that I work at, Vape Sack Prime, that if you are ready to enjoy some television, or maybe get out and do some yard work, or something along those lines, I suggest trying it out. It is Pineapple Express.
Oh, so I didn't realize
that
that I
was
was.
just an
I didn't realize that I was doing
advertising?
advertisements to myself.
Okay, I was
I was
like,
doing advertisements.
like,
So I get real
okay.
baked and I do advertisements to myself just in case anybody wants to hear me sell it to them. Let me talk about Pineapple Express real quick. Here's where you can buy it.
Man, okay.
Oh, okay, that was a
Hashtag
lame
ad.
Try
one.
again.
That
Try
was
again.
that was a lame one. Okay, let's see. What about this
We'll
one?
cut it out.
We're gonna
No,
charge-
don't
we're
cut it out.
gonna
You can
charge for a
include it. That's
sponsorship.
Hold on. I was gonna say we'll cut it out. We won't cut it out.
Well,
No, we got to charge for a sponsorship. We got to get sponsored by.
let's
by
not
the
even
shop you
talk
work
about
at.
that. I'm not getting into it. I'm not
Look,
talking
look.
about it anymore.
I spoke to the owner, and he said, "Don't I basically fuel it?"
Yeah, that's what he said. He didn't want to give us anything else. Okay, let's try this one.
On today's quick take from Shazam's Not So Sober Sidebars, I got to thinking about some stuff. And a buddy of mine actually we had some plans to do a few things, and he had some issues with forgetting about some scheduled dates that he already had going on. And it was having to do with his kid's birthday. So that's kind of funny to me. But at the same time, it makes me think back to whenever I was a kid, and whenever my dad would literally miss everything that I was doing, unless it just so happened that he did not have something else going on. Then, my mom would drag him to whatever thing I was doing, because I sucked at sports, and I was an embarrassment to my dad. So him coming and watching me playing baseball or anything else like that was always like, God, what is he doing? This is pitiful. So
Is this coming off a
but I
little
remember
like
once,
hide the rope?
This was about maybe
Yeah,
4 years
it's
ago,
a
I was
little. I was
having a
like,
conversation with my
Are you
And I
confessing?
was telling Dad, I was like, well, I mean, not like you took me to all the games and stuff. Mom was the one who was always taking me to the games all the way back in T-ball and everything. You were always playing softball, and you didn't have enough time to dedicate to my baseball. And my mom just stopped me in the middle of the conversation, looked at Dad, and said, "Ha! I told you he'd remember." So, one of those things. It got my brain sparked on it because my buddy had to cancel these plans we had to do something because it was his child's birthday, and it kind of reminded me of my childhood, except we took care of it like adults and got something else scheduled, and he didn't have to actually miss his kid's birthday.
God, how
wasn't
depressed am I?
sad.
That's
Are
not
you
even funny.
Man,
There's no funny to it at all. Man, I should have pre-screened
You
myself.
should have.
I should have
Man.
pre-screened myself before
okay?
we got on here.
We're gonna put you on pause. We're gonna move on, and we can start.
That's
Right.
insane. Was I just like expressing
got-
is this an inner
got it.
monologue diary
So
that
that
I'm
was-
doing? Dear diary,
You got-
today I got stoned inside.
he had a weed advertisement and then your confession.
Hold on, no,
No,
let's
no.
see what number 4
No,
is. Just
you're-
to
you're
get it
in
out of
timeout.
here.
You're in
Let's just
timeout right
well,
now.
that's the last one. Let's just
Okay,
get
well-
it out of the way because the other ones just could suck my whole asshole.
You know what?
Like-
I was so excited to hear these.
Yeah, I was like, man, I feel sad
I'm-
now.
the guy from Black Flag spent like 3 hours trying to make that fucking thing
They worked-
do what it's supposed
You
to.
guys worked so hard.
And that
trying to
was
get
literally
to work.
50% of this shit.
No, it was it was like 66% of it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Shazam's Less Than Sober Sidebars.
Oh, I'm real screwy. I can
no.
hear it.
Oh no, what are we gonna
Yesterday,
get?
Played some disc golf today. It was pretty good. Needed some exercise. I have a good time playing disc golf anyway. Most of you know that.
It's just
Came
a
home, did a
diary.
little gardening. And I got to scrolling, and somebody posted a picture. And if anybody's ever played some Souls-like video games, you can kind of understand. This picture has a video game character. And the video game character is holding a shield. He has a wooden bat in his hand, and he's just in underwear. He's just killed a little small kind of rabbit monster. That's like representation of the beginning of a Souls-like game. Level 60, it shows this character with a really nice sword, a nice matching set of armor, a bigger, nicer shield, and it's just taken down like a Minotaur character. It's pretty awesome. And then it gets to the very final picture, and it is a picture of this same character at level 100, wearing a yellow thong bikini that's leopard print, has a cat around its neck as a necklace, an actual cat, not like a pendant, it's a cat, and has a hat on that is just an obscure puffy hat. It has cat ears, a cat face. It's crazy. In one hand, they have a frying pan. In the other hand, they have what appears to be a swordfish. And it's not just a swordfish. It's a sword that's a fish. And they've just slayed a dragon that takes up the majority of the frame.
So yeah,
I feel like you were just.
It was literally
you
just a diary.
You described a Facebook
just-
meme to us. You had an inner monologue, and then we had an ad for weed.
I'm mildly embarrassed.
What a horrible thing.
You hyped up so hard for us to get these
God.
not so sober sidebars.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Your
They,
diary.
they carried on. They carried on further than what I let play. Like I cut them off at halfway. Like both of those were cut off at the halfway point of each because the tone of them did not set up the same way that I was feeling the tone set up.
If you just
like-
want to have a diary, you don't have to relate it to the podcast.
You really
can just have a
don't.
voice diary. It'll be okay. It's 2025.
But
Men can just have
Oh
those.
God!
But I don't want a voice
I think
diary.
you need one.
I just
They
wanted
make-
some-
Clearly, you did at one point.
You
Hey,
worked
at
with this.
at 3 points, I needed. I needed to tell somebody about, hey, buy this, and then I needed to tell somebody about, like, hey, I'm my sad dad, and then one I needed to. What's wrong? I don't. I don't know. Tiny had the first one. It's your turn, Otto.
Okay, I thought of a question. It's more of a a question in them, and I'm just asking more of the group because I think this would be good. Like everyone has an answer. If you could remake one like superhero movie or one like piece of like media made about your like selected fandom, what would it be like? If you really liked the Daredevil movie, it's like I want that remade. Like what would what would be your like remake of it? Like what piece of media would you want to be like redone?
Okay, so I would redo the Dark Tower movie.
Called it.
I
Right
would,
in my head hole.
yeah, I would make it like a TV show because it would have to be because it's 7.5 books. Like there's like a 4.5. Anyway,
Right.
Could it be an 8-part Netflix miniseries or a limited series?
There's too much in it for that. I'm not saying you could get a full season out of one book. You might get
Hour-long
2
episodes.
books in a
I'm
season.
thinking more like a Game of Thrones like kind of setup.
Yeah, but
where-
not necessarily as long as Game of Thrones. But you would need a several season run to actually do these series of novels justice.
Right. I mean, and I feel like that's a problem with a lot of the transfer
Yes.
from book because like in the book you have so much extra stuff going on because you can jump around a lot more.
You do, and there's more inner monologue. But honestly, it wouldn't hurt if some of the inner monologue was not there in a video format. But I would also pick a different actor than Idris Elba to play Roland. Idris is a great actor, but he doesn't fit the description of Roland. I would have picked Hugh Laurie as Roland because the first time that I saw Hugh Laurie, it was on House, and I looked and I went, "Why is Roland Deschain playing a doctor?
Right. Why is this character that's a gunslinger like
Yeah, why is he an angry pill popping doctor?
right?
He should be in like West Times."
And if you've got some free time, check us out on your social media accounts. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on TikTok. If you're on Instagram and Facebook, you can get us at Nerd Grapevine. Real easy on that. If you're on TikTok, we've got it under my account on there, just because I'm the one who's mostly on there doom scrolling, and I might as well have the videos posted of our friends gathering together with our snippets of fun that we can have together. We got a few fun ones on there. Hercules Plate's my favorite one so far, just because you get on there, you'll find out. Austin.shazam.phi on TikTok.
And check us out on Patreon. You can support the cause and get some extra content. $5 will get you uncut audio, record button to record button, and $10 will get you uncut video and extra videos like The Smoothening, Nerds Day Out, and Nerds Do Discs. Be sure to check out the link in the description, give us some dollars, and get some extra juice.
Find us on Discord as well. There's going to be a QR code right here. Pa-pa! Check that out. Scan it with your phone. It'll take you right to us. It'll take you to what we like to refer to as the Backyard Bonanza. That's the party where we all hang out, and it's a real good time. There's memes and all kinds of stuff. We're on there live, uncut, uncensored, and irrevocably circumcised.
We're also on YouTube. If you want to check us out on there, get on YouTube, type in Nerd It Through the Grapevine, and watch our videos.
Okay, what?
Well, that would it's really weird you're mentioning Hugh Laurie. So I'm saving.
Did I
I'm
catch
saving?
you in the middle of a search or something?
No.
You didn't answer the question.
No,
What his question?
I know, but you said Hugh Laurie, and I was thinking like Josh Brolin, like replacing the gunslinger character.
I mean, he could do it, but
I think that he does
that's not what my heart said.
Yeah, because I would have never thought Hugh Laurie from House. But Hugh Laurie's one of those, like, he could convince you of pretty much whatever he wants to play. The man is as British happens, I think.
Yeah, they specifically wanted to hire an American actor to play House, and he walked in with an American accent. They hired him. I think the casting director looked at the other person, was like, "I'm so glad we found an American to play this role." And then Hugh Laurie said, "Thank you for the opportunity," in his actual natural speaking voice.
Yes.
I mean, at least they made sure you had like a good one because
Yeah,
Benedict
well-
Cumberbatch tried to do an American accent and it sounds
Well, see,
Awful.
they didn't know he wasn't American until after they hired him.
right. So I mean, it's convincing.
So,
So it
yeah.
it does the job at least.
It does.
House is a different kind of like an American accent, to whereas Doctor Strange, like his American accent with that's just kind of like I don't know. It's like I've never been to that part of the world,
Yeah,
Right.
so
I've never been to that part of America that you're
Yep.
speaking at. Like,
Well, I mean, House, there's a few words that are like, you can tell that he's not American, but for the most part. And it's the same with Benedict, honestly.
I mean, especially when you're riding through this world and Tara, you know. Oh, his good. It's weird. I never really noticed it the first time I watched Sons of Anarchy, but now that you've said that, every time he says like, "I gotta do this for my club," I'm like, "Oh, buddy, you're
from a family,
a family."
my family.
yeah.
Family. Tara. Hey, Spawn.
Oh, the Spawn movie.
That's a good one, yeah. What would you do different?
Well, it needs updated graphics.
Absolutely.
That's to be assured. The practical effects that they used for it would not hurt anybody nowadays because their costume designs would be far superior than those things that they
They
made.
spent all their budget on the Spawn suit.
They spent all their budget on the 15-minute long scroll through that the movie started with. Do you remember how long that scroll scene was at the very beginning of Spawn?
Oh, did they have like
Yeah.
a Star Wars esque like?
No. Star Wars is at least majestic with a moving title screen. This is just random flashes of shit happening, and what looks to be like the background of a DVD of Hellraiser, like happening in the like that they've overlaid some pictures from these
Oh,
characters in this
boy.
movie in, and it's like you're just supposed to get the idea that he's this badass assassin. Like this government CIA
He's
operative.
Badass because they told you he was.
Oh, it's a tell don't show kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was like the best clue you got for it was so if they could just do a little bit better job with some backstory and some establishment of the character before the character is then transformed into the Spawn character, and then don't make it such a weird, like it was kind of like a blocky, odd Spawn figuring out Spawnness.
Right.
Even though I'd imagine that would be more comic book accurate than what I would imagine it would be, like him figuring out stuff. But after he gets the grasp of his powers in the I'd imagine he's got them better than what he did in the show. He didn't really have much control over jack shit in the movie.
No, not really. And not to mention the Violator, how they just
No, John
Really-
Leguizamo, I want him
no,
back.
No, yes, definitely, because he did great. Where they messed up with him was, I don't know how much money they spent on his transformation scene to show him in his true form for 30 seconds?
Yep.
The one singular time.
Yep. It was basically like by the time that that everything came together to the way it was supposed to be, like you got this really crude PlayStation 1 graphics rendering.
Oh, it's like all
Yeah.
the money went here and
Because-
it still wasn't
because-
enough.
Because his suit was like CGI mixed with practical effects, but his cape was all 1997 CGI.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a rough combo.
It
'cause, like,
was.
It was.
even
So
today you can still see like the split in that, and 91's like not
Well,
there.
that's not even to mention the design of the devil in the hell scene.
he looks like a chihuahua.
He had the most aggressive underbite. Like it was 40 feet of lower jaw extra.
It's like we shaved Millie in spots.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
she has mange.
Yeah, it's like Millie has extreme mange and only has some hair left here and there, except her underbite is extended out about 3 inches further.
And
Oh,
that
gosh,
wasn't
that's
even
right.
PlayStation 1 graphics. That
No,
was
that was-
more like N64 graphics.
Yeah, it was so blocky and choppy, like while he's talking,
Oh,
this is his mouth.
oh, that
like,
sounds
it's-
rough.
Oh, it was.
It was not good. And then whatever is Martin Sheen's character that he played in there, that he was like
Oh, yeah.
like he was God. That was just overall cheese factory movie. Like
Yeah.
acting wise, it was still cool, but Spawn itself is dark. It's gritty. it doesn't have as much of a campy feel to it until the Violator shows up in spots.
Yeah.
Because he brings that vibe, and then all of a sudden, here's some of the darkest shit you've ever seen.
So like the tones all over the place.
Like the Violator shows up in one episode of Spawn, and then shows Spawn images of this guy who's an ice cream truck driver who's kidnapping kids and doing awful things to kids,
right.
and showing Spawn this guy, and he's not even anywhere around here. What are you gonna do about it? Kind of that's how Spawn is, because that's what the Violator's there for. The Violator is there for the spirit of malevolence, and that's what it feeds off of. It's the embodiment of the spirit of like this.
Yeah, and who was the guy that trained Spawn? I don't remember his name. They said it one time in the show.
Oh, Whistler.
Yes. Well, yeah, Whistler from Blade.
Magic Whistler.
Yeah.
He's Magic Whistler.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's just Magic Whistler.
Yeah, and it's like they gave you nothing about him. Like, how does he have powers?
Yep.
Like, how does he know who Spawn is? How does he know how to train Spawn?
Yeah, that's I think that's probably coming with some of the like nowadays
Well-
we're kind of spoiled with a lot of the knowing the superheroes.
Right. Well, I mean, they expected you to, because he becomes like a big character in the comics, and actually at some point becomes the main antagonist of Spawn, because I looked him up at one point.
Yeah.
I've only had bits and pieces of Spawn. Like, I used to watch Spawn on the HBO, which I could watch it all now, but I wasn't allowed to whenever I was growing up because it was very graphic.
Really? Who would have thought?
And I did anyway. But then as I'm old enough to watch it now, it always just escapes my, the ADHD like realm of focus.
You and I sat down and watched the whole thing one day.
No, I'm talking about the
Uh,
Spawn the television series. I'm not talking about Spawn the movie.
There was a television series?
Yeah, the animated Spawn on HBO
I
from
didn't-
like the
I didn't
90s.
know that was a thing.
Oh god, dude, it's like comic book accurate and scary and grotesque.
Oh, so
Really,
it's
I have to check
actually-
that out because I've seen that on Max before.
No, it's hurtful. Like, it used to scare the shit out of me as a kid.
I might actually check that out.
Yeah, because it had some stuff going on in there that I was not old enough to comprehend what was going on.
Almost
there-
like it was supposed to be on the paid channel.
Was
Yeah.
there boobies?
There were boobies. There was a scene in one of them to where there was like a VR thing happening, and anyway, yeah, there was boobies.
Heck yeah.
I seen it. I was there. I seen it. Otto.
Yes. So you're my like remake thing.
Yep.
Oh, if you want to do one, yeah, you get one because you're part of the group. What's
Yeah,
yours?
and besides, I'm after him.
Right?
Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
Yes, I have
Oh
stuff.
my gosh. He
But you said, and then you got, didn't you?
yeah.
I've been
found.
getting them as I've been sitting here.
You've been finding slowly. As
Yes.
we've
Right.
been, okay, hit me with it.
Go ahead, Otto.
See, I really want a good Fantastic Four remake because I feel like the Fantastic Four is fun, and I know Marvel.
You just wanted an alliteration.
Well,
didn't
see,
you?
they are doing a remake.
I know, but I don't trust Disney to make good things now.
I mean, I
They-
don't blame you.
Like, I know there's the new stuff coming out, but I don't know. I was so on board with the MCU for the first like phase 1 and 2, and then like just in the end I'm tired of it. But I want a good Fantastic Four. I remember watching the first Fantastic Four back in
I can't remember. It was the early aughts.
It was like
Jessica Biel did
04.
awesome.
and it was so much fun. But also as an adult I've
Or was
watched
it Alba? Jessica Alba did awesome.
Jessica Biel was Blade Trinity.
I can always get
Uh,
those names mixed up.
I mean they're very similar.
Yeah, Alba was the one that was in Good Luck Chuck, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But-
Now I got him straight in my head.
But the first one was very fun, but it was very like Sam Raimi, campy, like Spider-Man esque. And as an adult, it's not as like fun. But it'd be the same thing as like I think the Ghost Rider. Like I think Disney should go back and like work on some of those early like MCUs that I think would be a lot more fun.
The
than
Hulk
this one.
still hasn't had his own good movie yet.
No.
He hasn't. All of them have been
I
bad.
tried
Eric-
to watch. Okay, I've been slowly going through the MCU because I'm like, you know what? I did like some of them. I'm actually just gonna give it a shot and see how far I make before I give up. I watched Iron Man. Love Iron Man.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I'm watching them in the order that you're supposed to watch them. I don't know if it's the chronological release, but as far as the timeline goes or whatever, that's what I'm watching. I could not tell you anything about the Incredible Hulk.
He's
other than
smash.
it was it was bad. I would rather watch the late '80s Incredible Hulk TV show instead of any of the Hulk movies I've attempted to watch. Because I've tried to watch all of them at this point.
Like, didn't they have a cut scene with Robert Downey Jr. at the end of The Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, because it came out after Iron Man.
Yeah.
I think Iron Man came out first.
Look, that was one movie that I almost hoped for customers to interrupt. So I did not see if there was any post-credit scene.
The Eric Bana Hulk that came out before that in the early aughts was worse than that.
Well, it was. To be clear, this one was the one with Edward Norton that everybody says that's one you should watch.
It is the better movie because if you watch the first one with Eric Bana and you get the grasp of that movie, and then you watch the one with Edward Norton, it's like you're watching Gunsmoke and then you watch Tombstone. It's like, this cowboy looks better.
Right?
Well, not only
This is
that,
better cowboying.
the way it was filmed, it looked like it was filmed in the mid '90s. It had a real Phantom vibe.
Right. Yeah, it was so dark because it actually wasn't handled by like Marvel. It was handled or like by Disney. It was handled by Fox, I believe. It was one of the early like Fox ones. So it has a completely different tone and like a completely different actor. I remember growing up, I didn't know that was part of the MCU because I was like, well, that's a different guy than what's playing Hulk now. But it's the other guy wanted too much money.
Yeah, Edward Norton.
Yeah.
I think that he would have done a really good job, though. I mean, I think that with the way that Mark Ruffalo's character is carried out throughout the movies, if you can put Edward Norton's Hulk in that position, he might have been able to pull it off, I think, as well as Ruffalo has, if not just a little bit different, because he did seem like a little bit of a getting Mark Ruffalo angry really doesn't seem like it'd be that scary. Maybe that's the point of him being
an intimidating guy.
Well, that is
Yeah.
the point of the Incredible Hulk because
Edward Norton himself. I can't get American History X out of my head
Right.
ever, so he scares me.
yeah, well, I mean, the thing about Mark Ruffalo as it is that he is chill. He presents as not angry. It's like a simmer, because I can't remember which one he's like. My secret is I'm always angry.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Avengers.
that's Avengers.
Okay,
So
the
one of the-
Avengers when he says that, and so when he actually changes, it makes it more dramatic when he actually becomes the Hulk. So I actually appreciate Mark Ruffalo as it more than anybody else that I've seen.
Maybe this new Fantastic Four movie that ends up coming out will be something that wipes the slate clean and gives us a good Fantastic Four, because they tried that new one with the newest version of it.
Fantastic.
It had Miles Teller in it. It had Michael B. Jordan in it. It had other hot name in it. It had other hot name in
And
it.
it had Hemsworth, or it had Captain America in it.
Did it?
Yeah, because if you watch Deadpool and Wolverine, that was the joke that they were making, was he played Johnny Storm, or like
He wasn't in
Human Torch. And
He wasn't in Fantastic. He was in Fantastic Four, the original two that you were talking about.
no,
being
no,
campy.
he was in the second one, the remake.
What was he in the remake?
No, he was in the remake of Fantastic Four, because there was the Fantastic Four that came out super early. That was like early 2000s, and then there was another one.
That's not a remake. That's a sequel.
No, it's a different one.
They have Fantastic Four.
There was a sequel.
They have Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, I forgot Silver Surfer came out.
I've never seen that
Yes.
one. And
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure it
think I
was absolute garbage.
Yeah,
I
and
saw
then
it
the,
once. I
and then the
completely
other one they had come out was within the last like five or 6 years, I think, something like that.
No, it was like
Or was it like
It was-
2017?
it was pre Captain America.
Was it?
It was.
That's garbage.
Look it up.
It was so garbage.
I mean,
Yeah, it was one of those, they tried to relaunch Fantastic Four and they made it even more boring movie. They made a boring movie but without any of the camp of the first one.
can we agree that the Silver Surfer is kind of a stupid hero?
Oh, they've got the first trailer out for the Fantastic
Well,
Four.
cuz he's not really a hero.
Yeah,
He's-
like his powers and stuff are cool. The premise is cool, but why does he have a surfboard?
well,
That's what I think is stupid.
yeah, I think it's just supposed to be like the way that he gets around. I mean, it's
I know
just
it's dumb though. It's a surfboard.
right.
Okay, let's see here. Well, they've got some people announced for the Fantastic Four.
We're looking at the movie of the year.
I'm sorry, but it just happened to come across the
You're
thing.
getting distracted.
I didn't realize there was already stuff.
ADHD.
There was already stuff out about the new one. I didn't realize.
Pedro
We're not going into
Pascal's in
that.
it.
We can do that later.
What year was it? 2017.
Yeah, that's
That was
like,
that was a hot stinking
that's
sequel.
almost a decade ago.
Yeah, they had Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, and Jamie Bell.
Or-
So, and then Toby Kebbell was Doctor Doom
Who? Because
or Kebbell, I don't know.
Chris Hemsworth played, or not Hemsworth. Evans.
He was Johnny Storm in the first two Fantastic Four
I
movies.
thought he. Oh, I'm guessing I'm getting confused. I thought he was in the remake.
Negative. He was
Okay.
Michael B. Jordan played Johnny Storm.
Yeah, the basketball player.
Oh right, everyone got mad about that.
Yes, they did. Now you remember.
Sorry,
You feel
there's
better.
yeah, there's a lot of things that go on in my
It
head.
gets jumbled up in there
When-
sometimes.
When you make 3 bad Fantastic Four movies, it kind of happens like that.
There was probably even more than that because we forget that Marvel had a wave of movies that came out in the 80s that featured Captain America and the Punisher.
Yeah, we don't talk about those.
Those were some nonsense.
We don't talk about those.
Tiny, what was yours?
So the first one I had, if you woke up tomorrow in a fantasy world, I know it's similar to the one you had and put it to the group. What race would you want to be? What fantasy race would you want to wake up as?
Oh, I can answer
And
this
why?
one. I want to be a tiefling from D&D because I like the way that they look.
I mean, tieflings are cool. Plus,
I know.
Fangorn.
You got the horn and the tail. I wouldn't want the cloven hooves, but the tails and the horn. I think that would be fun.
Which have you? Okay, I've read the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
We're going to use the definition of read very loosely.
Okay.
Do you know like a lot of like their lore? 'Cause it's cool lore.
I know my tieflings from Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay,
that is my
gotcha,
tiefling.
gotcha.
But I'm always down to learn more about it. I know a lot of it is in Dungeons and Dragons. It's someone in your family line made a pact with the devil or a
Mhm.
demon. I think it's a devil because
Oh,
demons
I'm
are the
sorry.
other
You
thing.
said tiefling. My brain went treant. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, I don't. See,
I don't know why my brain said treant.
That's why I was so confused.
Yeah.
Of, like, there's tieflings in Lord of the Rings.
I was
Hold on.
I was thinking
I
like
was-
real hard and like where the fuck were the teeth?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
my
you're about
bad.
to pour out some deep lore.
Yeah,
Okay,
My bad. My bad.
Then-
I'm like I'm
I'm
calling
sorry,
Marcus.
Marcus.
I'm calling Marcus.
Marcus, if you're listening
I
or
w-
watching, I'm
Marcus
sorry.
rages in teacher.
a shiver just went through him.
Yeah, tieflings are dope.
I'm a big
Right.
into
I've
these
always wanted to
kids.
play a tiefling.
I mean, even at my wedding, I made myself some devil horns to wear to
I
fit
know.
into the dragon, and I wanted to. I felt like a devil at that point. I wanted to send someone to hell.
That's understandable.
I feel
That- It was almost a 100-year-old trait.
I was the cleric at your wedding.
You were. I
I-
also had a rogue and a healer.
Paladin.
I would like to rage now.
Oh yeah, I did about punch that tree.
Oh no, that's my race character choice. I would like to rage now.
Oh, you're gonna be.
That's a barbarian.
Yeah, that's a
No,
class.
no, no,
class.
no. Him in general.
I don't, I'm
I-
pulling a blank
I
on
do
which.
not
Oh, from what's his face? I forget. his name.
Oh, Grog.
Grog. Yeah.
He's a Goliath.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I would not mind being a Goliath because I would. I mean, it's how I feel at family functions already. So
You have a surprisingly short family.
So I am the milkman's kid, y'all. No,
How do you think I feel?
like the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
pretty much.
But and no offense to you or Becky,
We have two different fathers.
but you guys. She's like the shrunken version of you. Like
that's-
you're a Russian egg doll, and you pop open Tiny, and there's Becky.
Look, first of all, it's called a matryoshka. Second of all, that's why I introduce her to everybody as my little sister, even though she's my senior.
She is. She's little.
Oh my gosh, I never noticed.
Yep. Oh yeah, she's roughly armpit height.
Oh my, I've never. Oh my gosh, because
Armpit to me.
I mean I've known y'all since I was a little kid. I've never seen you two like next to each other and just it's just that's Becky height.
It happened one night at a Shattered concert. Lo and behold, it was at Woolly Bullies. It was dark,
That was a night.
and it
That was the night I got naked in the parking lot.
that was the
Whoa,
night you got
what?
naked in the parking lot.
Tiny, I've heard so many stories about you tonight that
I know.
I don't know if I can handle another. The first
R.I.P. Franklin and Romeo.
Yeah. Well, see, look, that particular time, The only bathroom at Woolly Bullies for the guys is a large pee trough.
And they didn't have a sit-down toilet to
They had
take a
none
shit.
of that.
Did it
If
have
you
the
had
ice
to,
in
we
it?
were
If
done.
you had to shit,
No,
you had
no
to go to
ice.
the female restroom,
I didn't even know that. Well, I didn't even think of that as an option.
opposite side of the bar, and knock
Well,
first.
As the band at Woolly Bully, they gave you free drinks. Okay. And Woolly Bullies got packed for bands. So the waitress would come by. I'd go, hey, would you mind refilling my beer, please? She'd say, no problem. She'd leave. She'd be gone like 10, 15 minutes. And I'd go, I'm getting thirsty. I'll just go up to the bar and get another one. So I'd go up to the bar and get another one. And then I'd go back to my station. And then here she would come with the other one. So now I'm double fisting.
Two
So,
beer.
so you drink one so it doesn't get hot, and then you just kind of drink on the other one. That happened to me 4 times.
Oh Lord,
So I got
that's
you
a
know,
lot of foam to be put down.
inebriated, and I had to pee because that much beer inside of a man, 8 pints in, you got to pee. So I go pee, and he had some stage fright. I didn't know he had stage fright, and he messed on the curtain.
He hadn't had to pee into the bathtub
Yes.
in public ever.
Yes, and so I urinated all on myself, not knowing until I walked back out.
There was no door lock.
There was
Oh
none.
no.
You had to
So-
have dingle dongling for whoever wanted to kick that door open. It could be
Yep.
male, it could be female, it could be a wolf that got into the building. You're not protected. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
That door doesn't have a lock and it's on a free swing. Like, son of a bitch, I need more protection than this if I'm going to whoop out my hanging down Tom Dooley.
Exactly.
Oh, that's why I hate those bar
Yeah.
bathrooms.
So basically, I had to get into my car bag where I keep a change of clothes and change my pants in the parking lot.
Honestly, it's probably not the first time someone has gotten naked in that parking lot.
Oh,
and
it's
it
definitely
will never
not.
be the last.
Definitely not.
That's true. Otto,
Hold on. I didn't.
Tiny has to tell us
Yeah.
what his is.
Exactly. I would be. I debated between two. Okay. I often describe the way that I'm built as a pinch zoom dwarf. So if you take a picture of a classical dwarf like Gimli,
Oh, that was poor
Yeah,
timing on
it-
my part and
it-
yours.
yeah, and you're like, I can't quite see him, so you zoom in on your phone. That's me, because I'm 6'5", but I'm built just like a dwarf. So, I've always liked. I don't know if culture's the right word, but the lore surrounding dwarves is super cool. But I also like orcs. So the classical orc is also super cool, and also that's kind of more akin to me. I
Would you
guess,
be a
bit.
dwark?
No, I
What if
wouldn't do.
you're-
I
you're
wouldn't
a
do a
half-
halfie. No,
You're a half orc. It's a dwarf and an orc.
I wouldn't want to do a halfie because I also really like Duragar, which is the dwarves of the underworld, like the dark dwarves. So I'd probably just want to be a Duragar.
What if you? Okay, what if
They also
you're
have really cool lore.
you're an orc, but you're adopted by a dwarven family?
I mean that's kind of how I live my life.
Right. I mean, like that's what it is. It's like elf, but
Yeah.
instead
I
of
mean,
an elf.
tusks would be cool.
Hold on a minute. Hey, hold on just 1 minute. Let me get my little brother.
Was that supposed to be my sister?
Hi. This is Tiny.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of my life.
Oh my gosh, it's perfect. It's the next Disney movie.
Do you have any more God water? My bag's empty.
I
So
have
go to-
never brought God water in here. Okay.
Still, though, it's been referenced and it is canon to the podcast.
I mean, I did bring in a giant bag of spicy water.
That's true. I think this could be a good one to end on because of something that you had mentioned earlier that goes along with it for me.
Has it been that long already?
It's been a minute.
Well, we're supposed to go for an hour.
Yeah.
Well, it's been
That was a long minute.
it's been 62 of
It's
those
been
minutes.
Wow.
3 weeks since you.
So, Otto, I presented it to Tiny last time. I'm going to present this to you this time.
Oh Lord, you presented many things to me.
You feel a pain in your arm that travels to your chest,
Ow.
then to your stomach, and then from there travels to your head. What is the worst case scenario of something that would be happening to you based off of movies and television? Bonus points if you can describe who got in there to figure out what was happening.
Wait, so first with anxiety, I'd think, oh God, this is the one and I hope I don't die like this because I'm probably doing something embarrassing. But so you're saying I feel like something's gotten into my body and like
Yes.
going in? Okay. See, I'd probably think Magic School Bus because that's where my brain goes. Because, Miss Frizzle, there's no way that she got permission slip signed to do that. And she's doing that ethically or legally.
Cruising on down Main Street, all life and feeling good.
I mean,
I remember
Can we agree that Miss Frizzle's kind of like low key hot?
And also roided. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
That girl was benching like 425 in one episode.
Like it was
just
nothing.
No wraps, no shirt. Just she was wearing a shirt, but no like bench press shirt.
Right.
Just boom, 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 boom. Just
But-
repping that shit.
The space episode scared me as a child because, dear viewer or listener, depending on how you consume this podcast, if you think back to the space episode of Magic School Bus, at the end of it, Arnold is having an exceptionally bad time because his cousin is being an annoying little shit that some cousins usually are. And he's like, you know what? F this, I'm out. They're
And
on
he
Pluto.
kills himself
He-
on Pluto.
He kills himself by taking his space helmet off just on
What?
screen.
Yeah, you didn't know that
No.
Arnold, the little redhead with glasses, killed himself in
He
front of
did-
everybody on Magic
No.
School Bus.
Dude, it
Yeah, he was
scared
He was
me.
so over it. He took off his helmet and his whole face froze.
It turned into a block of ice.
They
It sca-
didn't once think to go, maybe we shouldn't have a kid commit suicide on
It
national
scared
television.
me. Well, so they did end it with like they get back to school and he just has a cold. But I remember I watched it and I was like, I don't want to watch this episode anymore. And I refused to watch, even though I like this. I liked space. Space is my favorite, but I couldn't watch the space episode of Magic School Bus because Arnold fucking killed himself.
This happened.
Jesus. So he just said, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that part of Magic School Bus, but I wrote that question down when my wife actually had said to me the other day, this was just something I guess she might have stumbled upon on the internet, or might have been a thought that had passed, from me to her and then back to me, because I can remember, like, this is something I've thought before, but I haven't talked about it too much. But she's like, the Magic School Bus could be in you right now and you wouldn't know. And I was like,
That sounds like a horror movie plot.
thanks.
Yeah, sometimes
Thanks, honey. Like they would just shrink down to the
Oh,
size
gosh.
of a microid.
What? Okay.
I
They-
don't want
Wait,
that.
wait. Okay, I just had a brain fire. This is like the CIA has come for Miss Frizzle. She has hidden technology. Now the CIA has Magic School Bus shrinking technology, and they're using it as like CIA covert like stealth assassinations, and it's just a grizzled dark future where Miss Frizzle is a hardened CIA agent that is killing like KGB operatives.
I was thinking something not so hard twist into the government stealing it.
Ooh,
But I was thinking
along those lines, okay? So she's that covert CIA operative inside your body, but all the bad germs have set up like a Nazi fascist civilization. So she goes in to take out the KGB and the Fuhrer, which is your ailment.
possibly something along those lines. But the whole time, all you can feel is it feels like everything is diagnosing as a blood clot. But something just keeps happening. This keeps moving. Whatever's on the scans, like it won't hold still
It's almost
to get
like
a
it
picture
knows
long
it's
enough.
being
They don't
looked
understand
for.
what's happening, so they have to call in a specialist. And when they call in the specialist, he has to. It's not lupus.
Oh, God. I was like, why does that bass line sound so familiar? It didn't translate well into the microphone.
Oh, because it just now started into the theme.
Right.
The house theme. Now imagine. Okay, House being who he is, because he is House, and he's like he does do things he's not supposed to sometimes,
Yes.
and they've done all these tests, and the body keeps like throwing off signals like it has too high of a metal content to it. They don't realize that it's a micro-sized multi-ton school bus. So they don't realize it's a multi-ton school bus that is now shrunk down micro-sized, but it's registering high levels of metal in the body, and they're thinking like this could be some kind of deposit that the iron's collecting too much, and maybe that's what's causing the clotting and the pain. But it keeps moving. We don't know what's happening. And in the meantime, the body's also got an infection, so they're fighting off the infection as well with some antibodies that's now sent in there to fight alongside it. And House just doesn't know what's happening till finally he ends up doing exploratory surgery where they've got it between going directly into the brain and into down the nervous system. So it's trapped in the nervous system. So he's just going to get it out of the brain, and he ends up chasing the magic school bus till finally the magic school bus pops out, and this tiny microscopic school bus passes right in front of where he's got his little scope inside of the brain, and he sees it. And all of a sudden they pop out. Everything starts to normalize. Antibiotics have taken effect. The antibody Fuhrer and the KGB inside your body have been taken out. And House can't tell anybody about whether or not he just saw what he thought he saw. And then out in the parking lot, as he's grabbing, he's left, he's gotten out of everything, he's walking, and he sees this giant yellow school bus sitting in the parking lot of the hospital.
Holding 3 grapes.
Holding 3 grapes. And he says, now sure does feel like a good time for a Vicodin. Because that's House!